Thank you for joining me today. Thank you very much. I'm Randy Taylor with TaylorMade Leadership. I will be brief and get you on your way in about 20 minutes time. Would it be all right before we started if I shared a little bit about myself? I've always thought it's important to learn a bit about the messenger before the message. Thank you. So I founded this organization, TaylorMade Leadership, some 22 years ago. I work as a speaker, trainer, executive coach, specializing in peak performance behavior. Studied the science of human behavior for the past 35 years. Before that, I spent 20 years in broadcasting, doing this in radio and television at a number of different stations, including CFRB 1010 in Toronto, and hosting my own show on global television. Prior to that, worked in sales. Before that, worked in manual labor. I had calluses on my hands. And before that, in order to escape poverty and parent alcoholism and everything else in my life at a very young age, I lived on the streets homeless at age 14. And the reason I tell you this is that all of this made me believe that anything was possible. The challenges that we have in life can take us down or they can cause us to push back. And I was fortunate enough to be the person who pushed back. So let me ask you this question off the top. When you meet with a new client and you're about to share with them what you do and how you do it and what value you bring to the table, how does it generally go when you're having that meeting? If you're like most, it goes pretty well. So that's the answer for most people. So let me ask you this. Is the biggest challenge convincing a client who's agreed to meet with you to do business, or is the challenge getting new prospects to meet with you and to hear you out? What's your answer? If you're like most, everyone, it's getting more people to meet with you. And one of the things that I learned very clearly from 20 years in radio and television was that the people being interviewed were seen by the audience as the expert, the very best in their field. It may not be fair, but it's very true. It's the power of the media. The media, is the kingmaker. I recall many years ago working with a client up in a small town called Aurelia, starting out his career, and I was coaching him and working on ways that he could build his practice and change things. And I came up with an idea that he should reach out to the local newspaper and offer to write a small column for them on financial advice once a week. So this went back and forth for 2 or 3 months, and they finally agreed. He didn't get paid for it, but he was able to do that. And in very short order, within 2 or 3 months, people would, read his column and they would see his picture in the paper, and he became recognized around town, and people would stop him and say, "Wait a second, you're that Jed guy. You're in the newspaper." And it elevated him so much. He began to meet more and more and more people who, made that connection that if he was in the newspaper, then he must be, the most experienced person in financial services in that town. And so, again, fair or not, the media truly is a kingmaker. So let's take a moment and compare marketing. So almost all of marketing is talking at potential clients. And from a behavioral position for you and I and everyone, it's all but impossible to not feel like we're being sold. We walk onto a car lot, the salesperson walks over, right? How do we feel? Protected. You're in the clothing store and the clerk walks up to you when you walk out of the change room and says, "You look marvelous in that, darling." Right? And so we become reserved. The doorbell rings and the person is standing there with a clipboard and a badge. How do you feel? Well, we feel pretty reserved, right? So let me ask you this then. How do you feel when you're watching an interview? Relaxed, taking it in, just taking in that information, really eavesdropping on the conversation. And with informed, you will be featured in a major market style interview, very much like this, the same kind of interview that I did for 20 years in radio and television, thousands of them. And when this happens, you then will be seen as the expert. So how this is put together and presented to the people who are watching it is that my staff on Inform and my producers decided this is a topic that we should go out and explore in order to bring a show to the viewers. The producers then went out into the marketplace looking for an expert that we could interview, and they found you. And so how the process works is that in advance, you and I will meet to choose what that topic will be. This is all engineered in advance. We'll then go over what it is that you would like to include in a very good first client meeting, because that's the entire intention of Informed, to be able to have all the things that you typically say in a first client meeting. We then write all the questions to reverse engineer it so as to elicit the answers that you want a client to hear in a first client meeting. So the set of the show that you'll be on looks just like this. It's like you would see in an interview on CTV or on CNN or anyone else. The interview itself begins with learning about you and your why. Why do you do what you do? And again, if we don't give potential clients a reason to know why we're doing this, they assume that you're doing this to save the money to buy a new boat, right? And so if we don't give them another reason, nothing wrong with making a living, but when we're able to connect an emotional reason of what brought you into this business and what gets you up every morning and why do you do this aside from the money, it humanizes you and it makes you real. Again, learning about the messenger before the message is absolutely key from a human behavior perspective. We then go into the interview, ask all the questions that we determined in advance. There is no sales, no promotion of you at all, and that's intentional. We structure it so that people who are viewing it will hear about you, hear about what you do, how you help other clients, and then they're going to probably have an interest to reach out and to speak with you. At the end of the interview, with all interviews, I simply say, listen, there's something that I ask all guests and feel that there is no obligation whatsoever. But if viewers did have questions or would like to learn more about what it is that you do, would it be all right if we shared your contact information here on the page? And of course, you would say, yes, I love doing this. I love talking to people. By all means, go ahead and do that. And that's how strangers get to hear everything that you say in a first client meeting. And again, the challenge is not to close a client. The challenge is to get more of them to take the time to hear you out and to then book a face-to-face client meeting. The goal is to have a finished interview after final production of about 10 minutes. 3 minutes is way too short. We can't dig in and learn enough about you and about your process and service and solutions that you provide. So after it's finished in post-production, it will be provided to you. You'll own it 100%, and it will be yours to use in any way in the future that you would like. You can put it on your website. It's tremendous for referrals. Share it with clients, to share with people that they may want to refer to learn more about you, with all your prospects, with all your contacts, to use it through all platforms of social media. And what we found to be a really excellent way to share it is to send it to people to let them know that you were kind of surprised and thrilled to be asked to be on this show called Informed. You might have been a little bit nervous. Could they, do you a favor and watch it and then give you some feedback on how they thought you did? And when you're able to do that, people will sit through the entire interview and hear everything you had to say and have no idea that this has anything to do with sales. So I wanted to share what a few previous people have said who used Informed. Here they are.
Randy, listen, the first thing I want to say is thank you. Since our interview that we've had, response was amazing. I can say that when people saw this at first, they thought, what a great message, what a great interview, what a great way to make sure that the masses are starting to hear what you're talking about now. Just incredible in terms of the exposure it gave. Yeah, and I recommend to anybody that's looking to get their message out there, their unique conversation with their clients, to speak to Randy, give him a call. I think you'll never regret his professionalism and the way that he takes care of that conversation.
I'm Daniel Collison with Advice to Advisors. Known Randy Taylor for probably now pushing 20 years, and thankfully had the opportunity to be involved with Randy on Informed, where I got to talk a lot about what we do at Advice to Advisors. And it's a great way to get your marketing message out there, because Randy's a phenomenal interviewer. And the difference between being interviewed by a professional or trying to get your message itself out there is astoundingly different. So if you're looking to get your message out in a very professional manner, I would highly suggest that you contact Randy Taylor and look into the Informed program.
I'm glad I have this opportunity to mention the Informed product to those interested in this type of information, because it really has been a game changer for me. I've been looking for an honest and direct way to separate myself from all the social media noise that's out there. And having Randy, recognized authority figure, be able to draw out some excellent points of what my product is, helped me separate myself from the noise that's out there, and has been tremendous for driving people to my website, to my service, so that I can serve more. And it's been an absolute asset.
Hi, my name is Les Mraz, and I'm here to talk about the Informed video with Randy Taylor. Just want to say that it's been an excellent platform for myself to really get out to my clients and let them know, I guess, more about what I do. I think it's just been a great, again, a great platform. And I definitely would recommend it to any of you advisors out there. And the Informed videos have definitely brought me some more quality business, which I think is just fantastic.
So some previous experience of past clients in using Informed. It really is a powerful tool. So the investment for you to do this, including meetings and scripting, recording, post-production, and providing it all to you, is $14.95. For this session today, and for the next 2 weeks, if you want to proceed, I will provide it to you for $5.95. We'll also include a full training session, video training, all notes and materials on how to use it in a consistent funnel system on LinkedIn. And you'll also have access to myself at any time for questions and one-on-one assistance. So the process is to register. We'll then schedule a meeting between you and I to develop the topic and all the questions. Everything will then go to you in advance for approval. We'll then schedule a date to record it. It then goes off to post-production. And within about 5 days after the recording, it will be provided back to you, and you will be enrolled in the LinkedIn training program system. So that's an overview on what this is about. This truly is a game changer for being able to secure new clients. And I very much look forward to having the conversation with you if this is something you would like to proceed with. Simply send me an email to rtaylor@taylormadeleadership.com. Just put Informed in the subject line, and you and I will set up a time to discuss this in detail. Until then, thank you again for joining me. Have an amazing day, and be well.